You are standing over the ball, and you are the best player in the world. It is the 17th of July, 1994, and 100,000 people in Pasadena have gone silent because the World Cup now belongs to whoever blinks first. Your name is on the back of a nation's hopes. Your country needs this kick. You have carried Italy here on a knee that should not be standing, on a body held together by willpower, and all you have to do is what you have done 10,000 times in your life. You step back, you breathe, you strike it clean and true, exactly as you planned, aimed high so the goalkeeper cannot reach it. And the ball climbs and keeps climbing and sails over the bar and into the warm California sky. And in that instant, Brazil are champions of the world, and you are alone in the center circle, the best player on earth, dying inside. Roberto Baggio would say later that he still dreams about it, that if he could erase one moment from his entire career, it would be that one. This is a story about endings, not the lifted trophies and the laps of honor, but the seconds before them. The 90 minutes mean nothing now. The 91st means everything, because football, more than any game humans have invented, saves its cruelty and its glory for the very last breath. A whole tournament, a whole life, can come down to one swing of a leg, one bounce of a ball, one goalkeeper guessing right. These are the most dramatic endings the World Cup has ever given us, and every one of them lives or dies on a single unbearable moment. Begin in the thin air of Mexico City, the 17th of June, 1970. Italy against West Germany, a semi-final, in a stadium so vast it seems to hold the sky. For 90 minutes, it is almost over. Italy lead 1-0, scored in the 8th minute, and they are defending it the way Italians defend, like men guarding a door against a storm. Then, with the very last kick of normal time, deep into stoppage, a German defender named Karl-Heinz Schnellinger appears in the Italian box where no defender should ever be and stabs the ball home. 1-1. The storm has broken the door, and then comes the half hour that they will carve into a marble plaque on the wall of the Estadio Azteca, calling it simply the game of the century. Extra time becomes madness. Gerd Müller pokes Germany ahead. Minutes later, Tarcisio Bergnic, a defender who almost never scores, lashes in the equalizer. Luigi Riva makes it 3-2 to Italy with a finish of pure ice. Müller heads his second to level it again. 5 goals in 30 minutes, the most extra-time goals in World Cup history, and the players are running on memory now, lungs torn by the altitude. And in the 111th minute, Italy break one last time, the ball is squared, and Gianni Rivera sweeps it home. 4-3. Men in azure blue collapse onto the grass. Men in white sink to their knees. Nobody who watched it ever forgot it. Some endings are too big for the body to hold. Now Wembley, 1966, a final and a different kind of agony. England lead West Germany 2-1 with seconds left, and then a scramble, and Wolfgang Weber stabs in an equalizer at the death, and English hearts stop. Extra time, and here the most famous controversy in the game is born when Jeff Hurst smashes a shot against the underside of the bar, and it bounces down, on the line, over the line. No one alive is certain, and a Soviet linesman points to the center. The goal stands. Then, in the dying seconds, with spectators already drifting onto the pitch believing it is finished, Hurst is sent clear and thunders home a fourth, and the commentator cries the words that became immortal. They think it's all over. It is now. England 4, West Germany 2. The only hat-trick ever scored in a World Cup final, completed in the last breath of the game. Some endings do not bring joy at all. They bring a silence that follows men for the rest of their lives. Turin, 1990, a semi-final. England against West Germany again, and after 120 minutes that neither side could win, it comes down to the cruelest invention in sport, the penalty shootout. You stand on the halfway line with your arms around your teammates, and one by one they walk that long, lonely path to the spot. Stuart Pearce, who has never feared anything in his life, drives his kick straight at the goalkeeper's legs and watches it bounce away. Then Chris Waddle, and his shot rises and disappears over the bar into the Italian night. A nation falls to its knees in front rooms across the land. There were grown men in England weeping that evening who had never wept at anything. A penalty shootout does not just decide a match, it chooses in front of the whole world one man to carry the weight forever. And no one ever carried it like Roberto Baggio, where we began. Brazil and Italy, 1994, the Rose Bowl, the first World Cup final in history, decided on penalties. 2 hours of football in brutal heat and not a single goal. So they line up to shoot. Italy miss, Brazil miss. The pressure crushes legend after legend until it falls to Baggio, the divine ponytail, the man who had dragged Italy to this final almost single-handed. Score and Italy survive. Miss and it is over. He plants his foot, he strikes it perfectly, and it flies over the bar and the Brazilians in yellow erupt, and Baggio stands frozen with his hands on his hips, head bowed, the loneliest figure in all of sport. I felt myself dying inside, he said, the best player in the world, undone by an ending no skill could save him from. But the same cruelty that breaks men can also crown them, in the very last possible second. Move to Johannesburg, the 11th of July, 2010. Spain against the Netherlands, a final, and it is ugly, a bruising, kicking, snarling match that grinds through 90 minutes and deep into extra time without a goal. The penalties are coming, everyone can feel them coming. And then, in the 116th minute, the ball drops to Cesc Fabregas, who slides it through to a slight, quiet midfielder, arriving late into the box. Andres Iniesta takes one touch, steadies, and drives it low past the goalkeeper's hand into the corner. The latest winning goal in the history of any World Cup final. Spain, who had never won the World Cup in their entire existence, are champions of the world with 4 minutes to spare. Iniesta would say it felt like time stopped, like slow motion, like he heard silence. One ending, and a nation that had waited forever finally had everything. 4 years later, the cruelty and the glory shake hands again. Rio de Janeiro, the Maracanã, 2014. Germany against Argentina, another final, another scoreless deadlock dragging toward penalties. And a substitute, a 22-year-old named Mario Götze, who had been on the pitch barely 20 minutes, drifts into the box in the 113th minute. A cross comes in from the left. Götze takes it on his chest, soft as a whisper, lets it drop, and volleys it across the goalkeeper and in. Germany are champions for a 4th time, and on the other side of the pitch, a man in sky blue and white walks past the trophy without looking at it. So close he could touch it, and yet a world away. His name was Lionel Messi, and the World Cup, the one prize that defined him, was gone. Which is why the last ending is the one that feels like the universe finally settling a debt. Lusail, the 18th of December, 2022, the final that many call the greatest match ever played. Argentina led 2-0. It is Messi's coronation. And then, in the space of 90 seconds, a young Frenchman named Kylian Mbappé scores twice, and the dream is in ruins. Messi scores again in extra time. Mbappé equalizes again, completing the first hat-trick in a World Cup final since Jeff Hurst, 56 years before. 3-3. And so it comes, one final time, to the spot. But now the goalkeeper in green, Emiliano Martinez, throws his arms wide and dances on his line and gets inside French heads and saves one. And a French kick flies wide, and suddenly a defender named Gonzalo Montiel is walking to the ball with the whole story of a country resting on his right foot. He strikes it. The net bulges. And Lionel Messi, on his last attempt, in his last tournament, finally lifts the only thing he had never held. The ball over the bar that ended Baggio. The ball into the corner that crowned Iniesta. The same spot, the same unbearable distance, 12 yards that decide everything. That is the secret of this game. For 90 minutes it pretends to be about skill and tactics and the slow accumulation of effort. And then it gathers all of that into a single terrible instant and asks one human being to be perfect, while the whole world watches and a nation holds its breath. Glory and heartbreak are not opposites in football. They are the same moment, seen from two ends of the pitch. One man falls to his knees in ecstasy. Another, a few yards away, falls to his knees in ruin. And we cannot look away because somewhere deep down we know that this is the truest thing sport will ever show us. That everything, in the end, can come down to a single kick. So the next time a match drifts toward its final seconds and the ball is rolling and a stadium goes quiet, remember Baggio standing alone in the center circle and Iniesta hearing silence and Montiel walking to the spot. Remember that you are watching the most dramatic theatre humans have ever built, and that nobody, not the players, not the managers, not you, knows how it ends until the very last breath. That is the madness. That is the beauty. Subscribe, and we'll keep bringing you these stories.